Hey everybody, it's me, Rachel. Welcome to my channel and welcome to Plein Airpril. And today, what is today? Is it the 7th? I really can't remember. Today is the 7th. It's April 7th. And I was able to go out and do a quick car painting again. It was really hot today. I think it got up to 85 degrees Fahrenheit here in Nebraska, and that's hot. It's pretty hot for April, and we are expecting snow this weekend. So if you're not from the Midwest, welcome to our world. Anyway, so I was painting in my car again today, got my little pocket box, got the gouache out. I didn't clean this tray out, so there's still some paint left in there from the last painting session. And I'm just going to do my best to try to reconstitute it. I talked a little bit yesterday about how it can be pretty difficult to reconstitute gouache. And I'm using Winsor & Newton designer gouache. And that was the first set of gouache that I bought. I really like it. But I do find that maybe the R.M.Broadwell brand actually stays malleable and reconstitutes a little bit easier. But I'm going to try to use up all of this Winsor & Newton gouache before I move on to the R.M.Broadwell stuff, which I do already have a little bit of that. And I just kind of tested it out once a while ago. So anyway, I'm sitting outside in my car in the parking lot across the way from one of my favorite coffee places. So this coffee place, this is just one of those little drive-through little huts, and it's called Baristas. And it's been a favorite place of mine for a really long time. It's a local chain, and in the town where I went to college, they actually had a couple of locations, and they had some really nice seating. In my town, all we have is this little drive-through, but every time I go there, it reminds me of my college days and just kind of hanging out with people I really liked talking to and having delicious coffee or studying. And yeah, it just reminds me of good times every time I go there. And I also really like that if you get a latte or something that has a little bit of sweetness to it, they put a little bit of whipped cream and then a chocolate covered coffee bean on the lid. And so that's just a nice little treat. And I love going here. But it was already closed by the time I was doing this little painting. And so I decided that I would just try to capture the way that the sun was hitting it. And I also really liked what the sign said, the little marquee sign up. I think it said like coffee is love or something like that. And so I try a little bit later on to write that in with my brush, and I didn't really articulate the letters very well, but I actually like how it turned out quite a lot. So I just wrote coffee equals love because I was running out of space. And so the sun was, I think it was about 5 o'clock or so. And the sun was kind of, getting a little bit lower in the sky. And so there was just like a rim of light hitting one of the eaves of this little hut. And so I really like that. And then everything else was a little bit in shadow for the most part. And then a lot of the grass was lit up with sunlight. And I thought that that looked really nice. I did a better job on this painting, just keeping the background really nice and simple. Yesterday when I was doing my little gouache painting at the park, I just got way too involved with all the trees in the distance, and it just was way too busy and noisy back there. So I stuck with my larger flat brush for a longer time during this painting, and I think that that really helped me to stay loose and not get too caught up in detail. I think that it also really helps if when I do a painting, I can keep my focus a little bit more narrow. Yesterday, I was trying to kind of capture everything that I could see, and it may have just been too wide of a scene, too much information that I was trying to include. And so with this, I was really very focused just on capturing the light on the hut and then including that sign, which really was actually quite a bit further away from this little hut, closer to the road. So I had to move that over a little bit, and that's just something you get to do as an artist. And it was kind of a challenge just to kind of keep everything the right value on the hut, to kind of keep it in shadow, because the hut is made with like a white stucco around it, which obviously it doesn't look like that in the painting because I'm trying to show that it's a little bit in shadow with just a little bit of light shining on it. And so a little bit later what I'll do is kind of dry brush some light yellow over that just to give it a little bit of texture and to show just like a sprinkling of sunlight on that stucco. And then I also need to put a cast shadow from this little shrub onto the driveway that goes right by this hut. I've always wanted to work in a coffee shop, and that's one thing I still have not done. I still don't know how to work like an espresso machine, and for some reason that's been something that I've always wanted to do. So, hey, you know, I'm only in my mid-30s. There's still a chance I could work at a coffee shop someday. I'm just worried that I wouldn't be fast enough. When I was a teenager, I worked at Wendy's, and they trained me on all the little stations at Wendy's, like the fries and making burgers and blah, 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 the register, whatever. And then like the last place that they train you is to do the drive-through. And my boss got so mad at me trying to train me because I was like too slow for her. And she actually sent me home, and I thought that I was fired. I wasn't really fired. She was just really mad at how slow I was. And I'm still just a very slow person. I'm a slow typer. I walk downstairs slowly. I eat slowly. I'm just a little bit slow in a lot of ways, guys. I paint pretty slow too, actually. This painting I spent a total of about 30 minutes on, and I was actually surprised. I felt like I had spent more time on it than that. Although that makes it sound like I wasn't having a good time. I really was, but I was so immersed in it that I just assumed a lot of time had gone by. One thing I really liked about this painting was that I feel like I was able to pretty effectively capture some of the glare hitting the windows, some of the reflection of light hitting the windows that was a little bit varied. So I was pretty proud of that, and then I just added on some of the structure for the window on top of that. So here I go, I'm writing the logo, baristas, and then right below that, it said coffee is love, and I wrote coffee equals love, which I wholeheartedly agree with that. I am a coffee addict. And I'm just about finished with this little painting. Just adding a little bit of details, probably not super necessary details, but just some little things that I wanted to make sure really were representative. And then there's like a green coffee mug that's part of the logo, so I decided to squeeze that in there. The sign itself feels a little bit cramped, I gotta be honest, and I thought about leaving that coffee mug out, but I really wanted to just capture things as they are. And I really liked that little bit of sunlight hitting the green awning on the coffee hut as well. So I was pretty happy about capturing that little bit of sunlight right there. Just a little sprinkling of sunlight on that awning and on the grass and on the shrub as well. So happy Plein Airpril. I hope that you guys are having a great day, and happy painting.